Hi you guys. In this video / podcast, I'm going to tell you exactly what you need to know to quantum leap in any area of your life. Any area of your life. So, what gives me the right to talk about such a complex topic such as quantum leaping, which is to do with quantum physics, metaphysics, shifting reality, shape shifting, all these terms that you've been hearing around the internet right now that make a topic seem so complex, causing us to think that it's something we probably can't touch because of how complex it sounds. What gives me the right to talk about this topic? Well, this is a topic I've been studying for quite a while now, and I have spent countless hours reading the books, listening to the podcasts, and watching the videos on this specific topic. And there is one conclusion I have come to as I was on my journey of learning about quantum physics. And the one conclusion I came to when it comes to this specific topic, quantum leaping, is that it is simple. And when we think that a topic is not simple, then we actually put a pause on us gaining from the topic, learning from it, and applying from it, because our ego says we have to learn more. It's too complex. We have to learn all the terminology. We have to know exactly what to do to be able to do it perfectly. And we actually never get to where we want to go because we are continuously learning instead of applying what we're learning. And the information is simple. This is the kind of information I'm going to be teaching my children in the future, my 4-year-olds, my 5-year-olds, because it's not difficult to understand. So if 4-year-olds can understand it, I guarantee you can too. Okay, so let me show you this little image that I drew. I'm going to cover the top of it because those are two of my notes I want to share with you and I don't want to confuse you. This is a person, and this is where they want to go. Quantum leaping is when you have this idea in your mind of where you want to go, what you want to overcome, what you want to achieve. And instead of taking the regular steps to go there, the steps that the world tells you to take in the timeline that the world expects it to take, that people expect it to take, instead of taking these steps one by one, by one, by one, by one, you jump, you leap, and you skip the steps and go straight to where you want to go. That is quantum leaping. Quantum leaping is when we skip steps and we get to where we want to go in a faster speed. So practically, this could look like somebody who is fresh out of high school who wants to be financially free. The steps that the world tells them to get to that financial freedom is step number 1, go to college. Step number 2, get straight A's. Step number 3, apply for these jobs. Step number 4, do this thing. And for some people, the financial freedom, they are not meant to achieve it through college. This person could have decided to follow the steps that the world and their parents and their teachers told them to take to financial freedom, and they could have got to it in 8, 9, 10 years. The person who quantum leaped could have got it by making their own business and gaining it in 6, 7, 8 months. That's a quantum leap. Another example I have is, let's say somebody who has addictions, okay? Somebody who has addictions may receive the advice from other people to go to certain addiction groups, to go to certain rehabs where they say that you will break free from your addiction in a certain amount of months. So they apply for the rehab. They go every week. They go to the sessions. They have the accountability partner. They do all the things. Maybe that will work for some people and that's fantastic, but if a person is to quantum leap out of their addiction, that means they skip these steps and they break free of the addiction at a much faster speed. That is a quantum leap. Another example of a quantum leap is something that I speak on this channel so much about, which is mental health. I am a huge advocate that you can get out of your mental health issues, or at least lessen the symptoms, in a much faster speed than you think. Something I always say is that we can heal much faster than we think, okay? And so that is especially true with mental health. I'm living proof of this, okay? So that would mean instead of the years and years and years of talk therapy, you make the quantum leap to either lessening your symptoms in your mental health issue or actually ridding it completely. I have 2 notes here the first thing we need to do is not listen to the outside noise. These steps right here are often the outside noise that our ego believes we have to listen to, the procedures we think we have to follow in this life. We need to not listen to the outside voice. If you are on a journey of trying to quantum leap to a certain area of your life, to another area of your life, then you literally cannot be listening to the outside noise. Unless you are inspired to talk to certain people and you really resonate with the words they're saying and you really believe that these words are going to help you in your quantum leap. Besides that, you cannot be listening to the outside noise, because the advice of other people comes from their level of where they're at in their life and the information they have obtained, but they're not where you're at right now. You're on a different path. The second note that I have is don't tell anybody. Like I said, there is a lot of outside noise, and when you hear the advice of other people and when you hear the perspectives of other people who aren't on your path, then they will say things and they will advise things that will make you question if getting here is even possible in the way that you think it's possible. And what it will do is it will cause you to slowly start going up these steps again, even though the reality is that a lot of the time we can skip them. The next thing I want to say about quantum leaping is that this is so simple that when I teach it to you, you will realize that there's actually nothing strange about it. There's nothing unusual about it. There's nothing woo-woo about it. It's literally just how life works. Please don't place this topic in a box in your mind where you deem it as wrong, overly spiritual, woo-woo, any of those things, because that's not the reality of it. If we put something in a box in our life and we put it in a negative box, then we won't allow ourselves to touch the box, to learn the information that's in the box and to apply what's in the box. This is not information you need to run from, because the reality is you are constantly quantum leaping. Some people love to state that you choose to shift states, okay? And you can do this through all of this work and through this practice, and then maybe after a few days or a few weeks you'll shift states. The reality is you are constantly shifting states. You are constantly choosing new realities. You are constantly changing. So it's not something that is never happening. The reality is that it is always happening. Let me show you an image to give you a better understanding of what it means when people say state shifting, when people say jumping to new realities. If you like listening or reading Joe Dispenza's work, he talks about infinite realities. And now this concept, whether it's true or not, it is a disservice to you to not allow yourself to believe it, okay? Whether this is how God designed the world or not, it's a disservice to you to not allow yourself to believe it. And here's why. When we don't allow ourselves to believe that there are infinite versions of ourselves who are experiencing infinite different realities right now, then we obtain this idea that the version of us that has succeeded in whatever area we are trying to succeed from, in whatever area where we have overcome the thing we are trying to overcome, we will gain this idea that that version of ourselves is very far from us. And when the brain has the notion that anything in life is far from us, that it is hard to reach, then it drastically slows down how long it should take to get there, because the brain has this idea that it must take a long time because it's very far from us. It's very far, and it really, really does not benefit you to think this way. But if you think in the way, like Joe Dispenza teaches, that there are infinite realities that are happening right now, the brain gets this idea that if this version of me right here, who has succeeded in the area that I want to succeed in, is happening right now, then that's not very far at all. That can't be that hard to get to. And as soon as the brain has the idea that something is easier than we think, then all of a sudden it truly becomes easier. The brain and the body allow the process to getting there to become much easier because it doesn't seem that far from you. This is you right now, okay? This version of this person could be the person who has overcome the addiction of cigarettes or whatever addiction they have. This is the version of them that is financially free. This is the version of them that has the healthy relationship. This is the version of them that has an amazing relationship with their family. This is the version of them that is doing amazing in school. Okay, whatever you're trying to get at. The idea of infinite realities tells us that there are numerous realities going on in this moment right now, okay? That means that whatever you're trying to get at right now in life, there is a version of you that is living that right now in this moment. I know that sounds crazy, but if you don't allow yourself to believe this, or at least think this way, then you actually getting to that area of your life will take much longer, I promise you that. Think of this as a tool, a way to frame your mind to get where you want to go faster. So imagine you were trying to overcome addiction. You need to start believing there is a version of you that is living in reality right now who has overcome that addiction. Okay? This is step 1 to quantum leaping, believing this. Allowing yourself. You can believe anything in this world if you fully convince your mind and your body. Let yourself believe this. It does not benefit you not to believe this. Infinite realities. Some people say that you would never have the idea, you could never even think of yourself as that successful version of yourself. Think of yourself as the person who is free from the mental illness. Think of yourself as the version who has the healthy relationship. You wouldn't be able to actually think of that version of yourself if it wasn't happening right now. You wouldn't have the desire inside of you if it wasn't possible for you. Let that sink in. Some people say that we are continuously jumping, but the reason you keep re-experiencing the reality that you are experiencing is because you keep jumping back to you. You're not jumping to these other guys because this is your familiar. This is the life you have lived. This is what you know. So now I'm going to teach you how to get out of what you know and what's familiar and jump to these other guys. Okay, so when it comes to jumping to quantum leaping, there's the number 1 priority and then the secondary priority. The problem is 99% of people focus on the second priority, and that's why they don't jump. That's why they don't get there. The second priority is doing what it takes to get there. Putting in the hard work that it takes to get there. The number 1 priority is being it. You cannot outwork who you are being. If you are trying to get here and you're only doing the secondary priority, but you are still being this version of you, you will not get there because that's the second priority. We must focus on the first priority, which is being first. And honestly, the second priority often just flows naturally, just comes naturally, or we are inspired to do it naturally because we have the first priority sorted. That we then do the things we have to do, and then we can shift. But we can't actually skip here. Sometimes we just have to be, and we naturally are inspired, and the things just flow into our lap, okay? Sometimes life works that way, and it's beautiful, okay? Most of the time, we have to focus on the 2 priorities. We can't just focus on one. But we especially cannot focus on the second priority. We can't just focus on the second. We have to focus on the first. And sometimes we don't have to focus on the second. It just happens. We will not get there by only focusing on doing, by only focusing on action. Action won't get you there in a quantum leap. Action will get you there through the regular steps that the world tells you to take at the regular speed that you expect it to take. But action will not quantum leap you. Being will quantum leap you. So how do we be somebody? It's actually very easy. So what we have to do to be that version of ourselves is we need to think how they would think, feel how they would feel, and the inspiration for the actions we are supposed to take will naturally follow after. That is the simplest form, that is the simplest equation I can give you. That is honestly the only information that you need. To thinking how they would think and feeling how they would feel, we are doing this all of the time. Without realizing, we are choosing the version of ourselves all of the time. This time, we are not doing autopilot mode anymore. We are consciously choosing to change how we're thinking and how we are feeling. Yes, you can change how you feel because feelings first come from the brain, from the thoughts. This is basic psychology, basic science. Okay, so why is this easy? How can this be easy? Well, you have every capability in the world to think of somebody and to imagine what their life is like and to imagine what they are thinking and to imagine what they are feeling, and you can cultivate those thoughts and those feelings instantaneously. This is not a difficult thing to do, okay? You're more than capable of doing this. Sometimes this is really, really easy, and let me give you 2 examples of small quantum leaps in my life where it was super duper easy. Okay, number 1, this is kind of funny but very recent for me. So I got this piercing right here, you see it? Before I got this piercing, I had this habit that I've had for probably over 10 years where I bite the inside of my top lip. It was just a habit. It wasn't some sort of negative thing. It was just a habit that I would do, okay? So I'd always be biting the inside of my top lip all the time. All the time. This wasn't because of anxiety. It was honestly just something that I started doing and I couldn't get out of it, okay? So I was biting the inside of my top lip. I get this piercing. What does the piercer tell me? The piercer tells me that if you bite the inside of this piercing, okay, the bar of the piercing, you will chip your tooth, okay? And I was like, whew, okay, that's kind of scary. So I have this habit. I'm this version of myself that always bites the inside of my lip. Psychology is going to tell you that it takes 21 days to get over a habit, okay? But in my world, I said, no, it doesn't. I'm going to quantum leap to the version of myself that no longer has this habit, because the reality is I don't want a chipped tooth. And you may say, well, maybe it was the fear of getting the chipped tooth. No, it wasn't a fear. This was a really engraved habit in me. So, hi.
Hi.
Can I not be here?
I want not you to film.
Wow, you guys. Okay, I'm sorry. I am currently backpacking around the world. That is one of my quantum leaps. Thank you very much. And so sometimes the places I'm staying don't have good office spaces for filming. So I just got kicked out of where I was filming. It was a corporate building. I thought they weren't working today, but they were. That's fine. Okay. Back to where I was. The easy peasy quantum leaps. We're gonna have things that are so easy in our life to quantum leap. Why? Because we don't have very much resistance against them. So the example I was giving was of this piercing, and that I had this habit of biting the inner top lip. Okay, I've had this habit for a decade or more. Okay. Statistics say, psychology says it takes 21 days to get over a habit. I said no. I said, not me. I'm quantum leaping to the version of myself that doesn't have this habit. How long did it take me to get over it? 2 days. Okay, I was afraid in the beginning because I was like, I'm actually scared because this is such an engraved habit that I have that I'm not going to stop doing it. But what I did is I did the first thing you're supposed to do, which is be the person who has achieved the thing that you're trying to achieve, who is the person who you're trying to be. So I started thinking and feeling as if I was that person. Whenever I got the desire to bite the top part of my lip, the inner part of my lip, I would say, no, that's not me. I don't have that habit. I don't struggle with that. That's not me. Okay, I was thinking, and then from the thinking I was feeling as if I was a person who didn't have the habit. Consistently doing that over 2 days completely rid me of the desire from doing that habit. What most people would have done, and maybe if you are trying to get over a habit that to most people seems like a habit that is really impossible to get rid of, such as smoking cigarettes, even if you've smoked them for over a decade, what most people will do is they say to themselves, okay, I have 21 days of struggle to get over this habit. Okay, so what do? Whenever the desire comes up to do the habit that I'm used to doing, I just have to push through the desire, push through the sensation, and let it pass by, and be in agony while I let it pass by. That's not what you're going to do if you want a quantum leap. What you do instead is you feel and you think, and then you feel naturally as if you're the person who doesn't have the habit anymore, and then you're not in agony the whole time as the sensation, the desire is coming by, because you're not that person, and soon enough that sensation will stop coming at a much faster speed than what the world tells you it will. Second thing, that was really easy for me. These are easy areas for me to quantum leap in. The second thing for me that is very easy for me to quantum leap in is weight loss, is obtaining the body that I want to have, is working towards a goal that I have in my physique and getting there, okay? That isn't difficult for me. So I can quantum leap in this area very easily. I don't have much resistance to it, but in the past I did. So when I was 18, I decided I'm ready to actually lose weight. I'm ready to be someone who works out and eats good. In secondary school, I was the laziest person you could have ever met. I would use every excuse possible to get out of PE class, and I had a major binge eating problem, okay? So who I was in secondary school and when I was a child was somebody who would binge eat, was somebody who hated exercise. When I then developed the mind frame of somebody who loves exercise, someone who loves to eat healthy, somebody who is thin already, that's when it became really easy to consistently go to the gym doing weightlifting 6 days a week. I overdid it, absolutely, but it was easy for me. And eating the healthy foods was easy for me. I stopped actually craving the unhealthy foods because I was no longer being somebody who ate bad, who didn't exercise. I did this again recently. Recently I said I want to lose weight, and I was having some moments where I was struggling. I was doing the exercise and I was trying to eat good, but what was happening is I was self-sabotaging. What was my problem? Can you guess? My problem was I was focusing on number 2 instead of number 1. I was focusing on the action, the things I logically thought I had to do. I was logically thinking I need to exercise. I was logically thinking I have to eat good. So I know that sounds right. It sounds like, well, duh, you should exercise and eat good if you want to lose weight. But if we're only focusing on number 2, on the action, and we're forgetting who we're being, what comes in between is self-sabotage. If you are not being the person who assumes that you are somebody who loves exercise, who already is thin, who already is healthy, and you go straight to the action, your old identity of being the person who is lazy and loves to binge eat is going to come in and try and fight you through self-sabotage. So what I did is I tried to focus on number 2, the action, the weight loss through exercise and eating good, and this self-sabotage came in because I was not being somebody who's thin. I was working towards becoming somebody who had the physique that I wanted. I didn't actually think I was that person right now, okay? What happened was I started craving the bad foods, I started getting really unmotivated when it was time to work out, and I just sabotaged the whole thing. Recently, I remembered, okay, hold up, Naomi, I said to myself, why am I doing all the action, but I'm still thinking as if I'm somebody who isn't taking those actions? So I shifted my mindset, and now guess what? I don't crave the bread. I don't go down the bread aisle because I'm currently cutting off bread at the moment. I'm not going down the bread aisle because I'm not somebody who eats bread right now. I'm not unmotivated to my workouts because I am somebody who loves to work out. I am being the person. So now it's easy. I'm not craving the sugar. I'm not craving the dessert. I'm not craving to be lazy and to sit around. I actually really desire to exercise because I became that person first. Here's a reason why it's really basic and really easy to understand. When your mind says jump, you jump. When your mind says reach for the glass of water, you reach for the glass of water. When your mind says run, you run. Okay? Therefore, if our mind is saying that we are a lazy person who doesn't take care of our bodies, then our actions have to follow through with that. Okay? So the reason why becoming the person first works so well is because who you are telling yourself you're being by thinking and feeling, when you do that, the actions have to eventually follow. The desires have to naturally shift to that version of yourself. The inspiration you get to take the actions to become that version of yourself have to naturally follow. Where do those inspirations come from? We all have the gift from God, which is our intuition, and the intuition is so much more crazy than you could ever think if you don't actually realize it. The intuition actually knows the path and the ways and the things that are required to get you to where you need to go. So your intuition will inspire you to take certain actions to get where you want to go. We all have it. If you don't believe it, test it out. Watch my video on the intuition, teaching you exactly how to access it with ease, and you will soon, very soon realize that there are things that your intuition knows that your logical brain does not, and your intuition knows already how to get to these versions of yourself. And so the second thing, which is the inspiration that comes for some people, not always, sometimes we just become the person and it's just so easy and just naturally falls into our lap. Other times we have to take the action. The action will come through inspired action that comes from our intuition, and you will naturally have the desire to do these things. So for example, if you are struggling, like I said, with your mental health, if you start becoming the person who doesn't struggle with your mental health, who is doing good in life. And I know it's hard to cultivate the feeling when you feel so depressed and so anxious, but if you at least start saying to yourself, I am this person, regardless of how you feel, actions and inspired actions will follow. Okay, so what will happen is either you will naturally shift to a state where your mental health is more stable, or you will take the inspiration given to you from your intuition to do the thing that will free you from the mental illness, from the symptoms of your mental illness. So maybe before your logical brain said, I should go to this specific type of therapy, but when you start to attempt to become the person who is already free of the issue you were trying to free yourself of, the inspired action could be, you know what, maybe I need this specific type of coach. I don't know why, I just have this very subtle little nudge that I should book an appointment with this specific type of coach. Maybe I should start taking magnesium. You don't know why, but in reality your depression could be from a lack of magnesium in the body, and you have no idea already. And the inspired action is actually to start taking magnesium supplements. We don't know the logical reasons. We don't have to know the logical reasons. We just have to listen to the inspiration that comes to us when we're becoming that person. We need to sit back and allow it to come to us, allow the inspiration to come to us. Okay, let's say you have an area of your life. You all have areas of your life that are really easy. Look at your past. Look at what you achieved very easily. Was it healthy relationships? Was it money? Was it friendships? Was it weight loss? Like, what area of your life is really easy? Those are easy areas for you to quantum leap in. And then we all have areas in our life that are a little bit harder, and that's when we give up, thinking quantum leaping isn't real or it doesn't work for me. That's not true. You just have a little bit of resistance you need to work through. So let's say this version of you, which is weight loss, is super easy, but this version of you, which is finances, is hard. What do we do about it? There's two things. Number one, we either need to process an emotion that is prohibiting us from getting there because of something that happened in the past that caused a trapped emotion in the body, that caused resistance from you to ever get there again, because the body says this is a danger zone because it brought this emotion in my body, so I shouldn't go there. So your mind is going to have resistance to getting there. Or two, you have a limiting belief. It is either an emotion trapped in the body or a limiting belief. What do we do about these two things? Well, the first thing I want you to do is not focus on that just yet. I want you to just try being the person and following the inspired actions. If you have to follow any actions at all, sometimes we don't need to, sometimes we don't. Just try to be the person now, okay, and see what happens. And if you feel major resistance, and if you notice beliefs and thoughts coming into your mind about why it's not possible for you, that's when I want you to focus on ridding yourself of the resistance. But sometimes if we think off the bat we have to rid ourselves of the resistance, the reality is maybe you don't have to, and maybe it will naturally fall away as you do these procedures 1 and 2, as you become the person and take the inspired action again, if that action is required. So don't focus on the resistance just yet. Try it first, and then you keep having to shut it down, but it's coming up and coming up and coming up. The emotion or the limiting belief keeps coming to your mind, not allowing you to get there. That's when you focus on the resistance. But sometimes it's actually limiting ourselves by thinking we must focus on the resistance because we will not get there without focusing on the resistance. Sometimes you can overcome the resistance naturally just by being the version of yourself, and it naturally, like I said, just falls away. But this is for the person who is convinced, absolutely convinced, I have to get rid of the resistance in my way. So there are areas of my life, like I said, it's so easy for me to quantum leap in. Other areas that are harder because of either the emotion or the limiting belief. What do we do about this? If it's an emotion that comes up, if you notice this consistent pattern of stress, of feeling out of control, of feeling overwhelmed as you're trying to go towards a thing, then that means that that emotion is trapped in you and trying to come out because it thinks that if you go towards this thing, you will experience more of that emotion. We release the emotion through emotional processing. I have so many videos on emotional processing. If you actually need help and want to have a one-on-one session where I guide you through emotional processing, you can book that with me. If you want to do it yourself, I have plenty of videos on that. Go through my channel. You essentially feel the emotion to get it up and out of the body, okay? You do it enough until it's no longer there, it's no longer trapped in the body, so you can easily, without resistance, start thinking and feeling as if you're that person and then take the action. Number 2 is if we have a limiting belief. We have this belief coming in our mind. I can't be this version of myself because of this reason. Okay, that's the limiting belief we need to work through. When you notice the limiting belief come up, what do we do to get rid of it? We bring awareness to it and we question it. Okay, we acknowledge that it's there without any judgment, and we question it. Is this belief true? How is this belief affecting my life? How is it affecting my daily life? What would life be like if I didn't have this belief? And if this belief is not 100% true, what is the opposite of the belief? And is it possible that the opposite is more true? When we question it and shine a light on it, that's how we get rid of it. You can do this through talking to yourself, you can do this through journaling, whatever it takes for you to bring awareness to the belief and to question it, do that, and you will get rid of the limiting belief. And that's how you get rid of the resistance. That's how you quantum leap. This is truly the only video you will need on quantum leaping. If you feel like you need to keep learning more after this video, that is your ego stopping you from actually applying and actually changing your life. You are putting a pause on your success by learning more information. You don't need more information. It is not more complicated than this. It doesn't need to be more complicated than this. If you're feeling that resistance, or if you just want accountability on this journey to help you to make sure that you are continuously being the person and not slipping back so that you can take those inspired actions and you can quantum leap, then click the link below and you can book a session with me. And if not, I hope you enjoyed. I hope you took from this. So if you want to know more about mental health and emotional processing and processing the traumas in your body and inner work and personal development and all that jazz, subscribe, because that is what my channel is about. Thank you for watching.